Welcome, colleagues, principals, teachers, friends. Welcome to the explain phase of this lesson planning process. I am excited that you are holding on. I'm excited to see some of the comments below and some of the experiences that you are having regarding lesson planning. So please comment below and tell me some of the activities that you are engaging in your class in relation to engage and explore. So we are at the explain phase. So students have become engaged in the topic already, right? We have given sufficient time and opportunity for them to explore the topic. Now we have to lay the foundation because we want students to understand what they are or what they have been experiencing. It is now to enter the explanation phase of the 5E instructional model. In this phase, students learn to describe what they know and explain what they have observed or what they have experienced during the explore phase. So they're going to share their ideas. This is also an opportunity for teachers to guide students' discussion and help them to direct the conversation by asking those appropriate questions. The teacher helps students to think and develop their higher order thinking skills. And of course, the teacher will also provide the resources to help students answer the questions about the topic. This phase is where more direct instruction takes place. The teacher can provide either direct instruction or they can provide a written source of instruction. The information necessary, of course, for students to understand the topic. Now, what are some of the activities that students will be engaged in during this phase? Students will be engaged in oral and video presentation. These oral and video presentation can be done by the teacher or the students explaining what they have discovered during the explore phase. The teacher, of course, explains the topic. The teacher can also provide students to read information or text, and it can be an online source or a written source. You can engage students also in a web quest or utilize a short video clip. And of course, those questions are very important. Now let's look at some of those questions. What are some of those crucial questions that should be asked during the explain stage? So during the explain stage, you should ask students, what are some of the patterns that you discovered or you noticed? What do you think, or why do you think that this happened? Or what evidence did you find? What do you think? Or what do you expect to find? Or what did you find? Or how can you explain this? Right? Or look at this. Did you discover anything different? And ask students questions based on the topic that you are about to teach. So let's look and dive into designing that lesson and activities that I will be engaged in. So I will be putting this here. This is what I want to engage my students in. I will be, of course, displaying the rules because I want to teach students the concept. I will be displaying the rules for silent letters on the smart board and of course on flashcards in groups because you want to reach those individual learners, right? And students will be engaged in a discussion on rules associated with silent letters. Students will also be engaged by the teacher to analyze the words or encouraged by the teacher to analyze those words they found and to note the rules or the rules associated with each. Now, what do I expect my students to do? Now, me as a teacher, I want my students to explain themselves. So I want to engage my students in a lot of explanation. I want my students to discuss what silent letters are based on the rules that I have presented. And I want them to tell me what are these rules that govern each. I want students to share the meanings that they would have found in the explore stage and note the rules that would have been associated or that is associated to those words. I want students to read from the list provided and give examples of the rules for silent letters. Now, what are some of the questions that I want to ask my students? Because I want my students to be able to think critically about what exactly I am exposing them to. And of course, if you have any suggestions on questions or student behaviors and teaching strategies, you can always comment below. So I'm going to ask my students, look at this. What is this word? And I'm going to ask them specific questions relating to rules. Look at this rule. Which rule would you apply to this word, Wednesday, and why? I want them to think critically. I want to develop those higher order thinking skills. I want them to read the following words and I want them to tell me which rule would be applied to those words and why. So teachers, colleagues, friends, that has concluded the explain phase, and of course we're going to move on into the extend, or also called the elaborate phase. So we'll be moving on into that phase next. So see you soon.